Smile, meet, chat, join for networking.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Bernadette and I'm a business peacemaker. And I will tell you a little bit about my work, but today I actually want to talk to you about the game of life. Now, if you play the game of life well, life is easy. You're having fun, you're successful, you're very connected, you have a great work-life balance, and actually you don't feel as though you're working because you are loving what you're doing. And understanding the rules of the game of life is the most important thing, because if you don't understand the rules of the game, how do you play the game? If you know the rules of netball, but you're actually going to play basketball, you're going to get stopped every time you move with the ball. If you're playing and you know the rules of football, but you're playing rugby, every time you pick up the ball and run with it, you're going to get penalised. So understanding the rules of the game are really, really important. And unfortunately, a lot of us don't understand the rules. And, we feel quite challenged by this. And some people actually who know the rules, they want to sit on the sidelines. They don't want to get on the pitch and play. They don't want to take part. And you think, well, why not? Because actually the rules of the game are so easy. And understanding them is just really about knowing what is your personal success principle. What's your natural talent? What do you do easily and effortlessly? What do you do that actually seems so simple to you? Somebody next to you would think, oh, how do you do that? They would be really challenged doing what you do easily. And when you know what your rules of the game are, then you're going to have fun. And I'm not talking about a learned competence where at school you're told to work harder at a subject that you're not very good at. And yes, you work harder and you get a good grade, but you still don't like the subject. Or in business, when you're sent on a finance course to actually learn how to fill in those reports that you have to fill in every week to submit to the finance department. Yes, you can do them. You can do them well, but boy, do they take forever to do, and do you put them off because actually that's not really what you're wanting to do at that time? Or if you're somebody who really isn't interested in having sort of small talk and chat, and you're told to go networking, that could be the really hardest thing you want to do. And you think, well, why spend your time going to talk to people who have got no interest in the details of things and spreadsheets and coding and stuff that I'm doing? So it's understanding the rules of the game. But when you do understand them, boy, does life become fun. And actually, the rules and the rules of the game are by understanding what is the natural energy that we have. We are made up of 4 different types of energy, and the distribution of that energy within ourselves means that actually there are some tasks that we do easily and effortlessly, and other tasks that we find really quite difficult. So those 4 energies, well, everything is energy. I mean, scientists, will say energy is everywhere, and that can be quite hard to think, well, is a solid table energy? Well, yes, it is. And water, if you lower the frequency of it, that's going to become solid. And if you raise the frequency, it's going to boil and then, steam and vapor. And we're made of different types of energy. So we have 4 types of energy which are in different degrees of importance or emphasis. And I'll show you how these energies come about. So there are 4 energies, and they're pictured on this square. And at the top, we've got dynamo energy. Now, dynamo energy is very energetic, very big picture thinking, very good at ideas, very quick at coming up with lots of inspirational things, and great at starting stuff, but actually not very good at finishing stuff. And then you have the tempo energy. The tempo energy is very grounded. So the tempo energy would be, if you like, have the ear to the ground. They have the street view of life, whereas the dynamo energy have the helicopter view of life. And these people down here are very good at tasks and doing the detail and just getting on with the timing of when things have to be done. Timing up here is probably something that is forgotten because they've got their head in the clouds. Then the people on the right here, the blaze energy, these are people who love people. They love connecting with people. They love communicating with them. They love engaging with them. And they really are the sort of the party people. They are always wanting to go out and meet new people and change the world and meet new people. People on this side, on the left side, they are far more sort of introverted in the sense that they are really into the detail. They are very much about sort of processes and systems and really sort of getting things done and cash flow. And so if you have a team of people with all these different skills, then you're going to have a business that's going to run really well. But the important thing is that around this process, there are actually 8 profiles. So there are 8 profiles around the square, and each profile has got the maximum type of energy of where they're situated. So if you're up here, you are a creator profile because you have a lot of dynamo energy. But if you're here on the corner, you'll have a mix of dynamo and blaze energy. And that means that you have particular skills which are very easy for you to deal with. So what you might sort of think is that, okay, if you do your profile, and the profile is really easy to do because it's an online thing that you can do, and it gives you a really good report about where your strengths and your weaknesses are. But if you do your profile and you end up being a creator profile at the top there, what happens is that you're going to be you're going to want to spend 80% of your time doing tasks that are predominantly creator-based. Now you also have 2 secondary profiles, and the 2 secondary profiles are a bit like the wings of a plane. So you can leverage the strengths of those profiles to make your work as a creator even better. And like a plane has to constantly sort of recorrect the direction of the course of what they're doing, that's what your secondary profiles do. But if you start tilting and doing more of one, like a plane, you're going to spiral out of control. And then that's going to make life very difficult for yourself, but also it's going to make it very difficult for the people around you. So the frequencies that we have in our energies means that if you are very intuitive, you're going to float up to the higher frequencies. And so you'll have a mechanic, a creator, and a star profile. But if you're very sensory, you're going to gravitate lower, and you're going to become, you're likely to have the qualities, if you like, and the abilities of an accumulator, a trader, or a deal maker. If you are an extrovert, you're likely to be drawn to the right, where you're going to be a star, a supporter, or a deal maker. And if you're more introvert, you're going to be drawn to the left, where you're going to be a mechanic, a lord, or an accumulator. So let me tell you a story. Jane is Jane is a banker. She's also an accountant, and she's very good at her job, very pleased with what she's doing. But an accountant tends to do a lot of work which is around here, so it's very grounded, very much about detail and timing. And she does her job, but her heart and soul isn't in it. And she's sort of thinking, I'm wasted here, I don't feel valued, I'm not doing the best that I could be doing. So when we did her profile, we actually identified that she's a star profile. And so she's doing a task which is right opposite to what is her natural talent, her natural ability. And having conversations with her line managers and bosses, it was agreed that they would test out to see whether she could actually run a client portfolio. And so she did. And 6 months later, her portfolio had trebled in size because she was doing what she loved doing. She was really engaging with people, she was connecting with them, she was dynamic, she was energetic, she was able to shine a light on what the bank was doing, and people were just attracted to her and to the bank. So she was actually of better service to the bank as having a client portfolio than she was when she was doing accountancy work in the back office. And so it's really important to actually do the sort of things that you love. So my story is not dissimilar in the sense that I started life as a lawyer. I was a litigation lawyer, and so the laws of law means that, again, it's very much about doing work which is down here about the detail and timing things. And what I found was that actually, I felt a bit constrained by that. And I trained to be a mediator, and being a mediator was really, really valuable to me because it lifted the lid on all the regulations that I had to follow, because I had no rules anymore. I could be free to, help people to conjure up very different solutions to their problems. And that was really great fun. And actually, I am a creator profile, so that made a lot of sense. So doing that was really very, very good. And what I found then was that the people that I was then working with, the conversations that they were having, they were having problems communicating. And part of mediation is when there's a dispute and there's a problem. And people have lost the art of communication. And what happens is that every profile has its own way of communicating with somebody else. Now, the laws of physics or whatever means that opposites attract. So in relationships, you'll often find that couples will have opposite profiles to each other. And it's about, completing yourself, fulfilling yourself. But the thing is that some of the things that attracted people to each other initially are the things that frustrate them when they've lost that art of communication. And it's those things then that break down the communication and create the conflict and the disputes. So I thought, right, okay, how can I help people communicate better? So I trained as a master practitioner in NLP. And doing that was great because it gave me lots of tools that I was able to help people in the mediation room. But more importantly, it became a coaching tool for them so that they were able to take some skills that they could use in their own sort of personal life, but also into their workplace. And that then evolved into me working as a business peacemaker, because my life has always been about resolving disputes. But really what I want to do is to help people manage and avoid them in the very first place. And so that's what I do. And if you think about it, if you've got a team of people who are not working to their natural talent, they're not in their path of least resistance, they're sort of disconnected from each other, then you're not going to get that harmony and that environment where people are very productive and working to the best of their ability. And so that, what happens then is that productivity slows down. There's actually then a toxic atmosphere that becomes apparent because there's a blame culture, because things haven't been done on time. And people are really not very happy. You might have people who then go off sick because they're stressed. And then that creates that additional problems for the people who are left behind having to pick up the pieces. So think of the difference of how that is if you have then a team that is working in their natural talent, in their natural element. The productivity and profitability is going to go shining high, it's going to go really up. The communication is going to be very clear. People are going to have fun. And that's so, so important in a business, because where there's fun, there's collaboration. And there's also then lots of innovation that happens because people are all pooling their ideas together and they can see how they can actually promote things in a much, much more effective way. So my message to you today really is that, you want to live the game of life full on, but you have to do that by working with your natural talent. And remember that some of the things that you don't like doing, someone else will love doing them. So delegate those things to somebody else. But remember to delegate them to somebody who likes to do those things, because then everybody is happy and it's a win-win solution. Thank you very much.